Now to a congressional visit to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Congressman Jared Moskowitz leading the bipartisan group of the 1200 building before it's demolished. Local 10's Christina Vasquez joins us live from Parkland now. So Christina, what was today's tour all about?
And so I am joining you live right outside the 1200 building at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Remember that this is still preserved as a crime scene from that fateful day where 17 staff and students were murdered, another 17 hurt. And this is the second time we have had this bipartisan congressional delegation tour and bear witness to the brutality in that building. The first time happening August 4th, and a day like today for some of the family members of the Parkland murdered is so critical and so important to what has been their lifelong mission of really translating that deep grief and anguish into advocacy. They want these federal lawmakers to see inside that building as they try to continue to work to bring some of their school safety best practices, protocols and procedures, ideas, and of course gun reform legislation up to the federal level. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video now. You're going to see some members of that delegation, to include being escorted by some members of Broward State Attorney's Office, entering the 1200 building. And all of what we are witnessing here, this second time that this is happening, it really comes from that one key moment back in the summer. This is when this building was opened up to family members of the murdered, having the opportunity for the first time to walk through those hallways, those blood-stained hallways and those bullet-riddled classrooms, to see and feel and experience where their loved ones took their last breath. And when Max Schachter came out of that building after that tour, he is the father of Alex Schachter. He's one of the 17 murdered. You may remember he was a trombone player in the school marching band at the time of the shooting. And one thing he had said from his experience is that he wanted a call to action. He had said, I want every lawmaker in this country to have the ability to see the reality of a mass shooting, the nonpartisan reality of the impact of high velocity bullets and all of the other critical school safety issues that he has been advocating for. So everything that is transpiring is really the result of that call to action and a local lawmaker seizing on that moment to make these bipartisan delegations happen. Let's listen in together on what one of the members of the delegation had to say earlier today.
And I thank Congressman Moskowitz for hosting us and taking us through this incredibly important lesson for all of us to learn. Even recently, when we see the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine, where the shooter was under 21 and was also in a mental hospital for a couple months before. What Congressman Moskowitz spearheaded in Florida with red flag laws and raise the age laws still needs to be translated on a federal level because we are still having the exact same problems far beyond Florida. And I'm eager to see the very powerful and in time capsule that the 1200 building is.
And the very next moment in this day, also very important to some of the family members of the Parkland murdered, and that's going to be a roundtable discussion with members of this congressional delegation and some of the family members, as these family members continue to press on federal lawmakers that, in their view, ensuring that every child has the right to an education without being shot and murdered at their school is not a partisan issue in their view, but it is a pressing one. So we will be at that roundtable discussion with so much more coming up in our afternoon newscasts, which begin at 3 p.m. For now, reporting live for you, I'm Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.